it's your girls, Doreen,
Joan.
And Juliet.
we're the Caven sisters, and of course we have here Barry, our dope ass producer.
Pew,
Sup,
pew,
Barry?
pew. We out here behind the scenes, y'all.
That's right.
How y'all feeling today, girls?
We're feeling
good.
good.
Inspired.
Good,
Great.
ready,
The sun is
vibey.
shining.
I
You
know.
know, it's gonna be a great show today. I can feel it.
I can feel it too.
And we're actually talking about getting out of a rut, the steps you take when you're feeling stuck and uninspired. And I think that's like a topic that every single person has experienced at some point,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
either in their professional life or in their personal
Personal
lives.
lives.
Yeah.
You know,
Even
just
in relationships,
exactly.
like
Definitely
friendships,
relationships,
it's
yeah.
like
even with your family,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
feeling like you're in a stagnant space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what does feeling stuck feel like for you? What are the common signs that tell you that you're in that space, that stuck space?
Feeling frustrated, feeling like I am not growing, and
feeling unfulfilled for me, honestly, like just feeling like I'm missing something, feeling like there's this like discontentment within myself that shows me that clearly there, I'm in a space that I'm not comfortable in and something needs to shift.
Yeah. Not being happy about what I'm doing, about who I'm with, like just feeling like you just don't want to do it again the next day,
Right.
It's just like,
exactly.
it just feels like,
when it feels like work all the time.
oh my God.
Yeah.
When it
has
feels
to
like
feel
work,
Yeah. You can actually feel it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to
Like-
get up and just do it
Exactly.
again.
And like honestly for me it also comes out as like exhaustion. Like I'm just like tired all
Yeah.
the time. Like I just find like I'm just like fatigued even if I slept like a full 8 hours, like I wake up and I'm just like, oh my
Like,
God,
oh,
I'm
not
so
again.
tired.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when I'm
I feel-
stuck in something.
And then
or
there's
in a
it's
place.
and it becomes so uncomfortable. I
Yeah.
think that the discomfort of being in that stuck space, you feel like it's like everything hurts. Everything, every new thing. It could be a good thing happening,
Yeah.
and you still don't really get
Right.
to.
You kind of find the
Enjoy it.
wrong in everything.
It's
That
like-
yeah.
yeah, the discomfort precedes change.
Yeah.
It's like it's
It just
you
takes
gotta
over
move.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
Tell me, when you feel stuck, how hard, or should I say soft, are you on yourself when that happens?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like I tend to be a little hard on myself, like just because I think for me, I need to get it out of my head and onto paper. And that's usually how I'm able to like regulate, like getting out of that space. And sometimes I forget to do that. So then all I think about is the thing and the place and how I feel. And, oh, this is so uncomfortable. I'm so dissatisfied. So I think I do tend to be hard, but if I take that step to kind of like bring it out of my head and put it down on paper or even talk to someone else about it, then it's like an easy way for me to kind of get out of that space.
Yeah, I think that there's no way to avoid it being hard. I think that being hard is sometimes is the way you can bully yourself out of like the stuck place, because the stuck place is also a place of comfort. The reason why you're feeling that push and pull sometimes is because you're about to do something else that's going to take extra energy out of you, and it's going to it's so hard to like do that push. So yeah, like I mean, Juliet, you have to be hard on yourself then, but I've learned that in the process of the change, then be soft on yourself during that process.
Right. Once you
Yeah.
figure that part out. Once
Yeah.
you,
The hard
once you
part is
kinda
always going
know-
to be a hard part.
Yeah.
With change, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think you're hard on yourself because sometimes you might not even know that you are stuck. So you just feel like you're not like given, you're not doing like that thing of like hustle culture.
Yeah.
Like you're not hustling hard enough. Like what's wrong with me? Like you just feel like, you should be doing more. When I got to realize that this was just me being like stuck and I had to like maybe either change or like, like look for something else that I wanted to do. Like
Exactly.
I've realized how to be actually like soft on myself, because it's so important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Absolutely.
I like that balance.
Yeah.
A
little hard at
on
first.
yourself,
Little hard
and
at
then,
first.
like
And then soften it.
Then
and
soft-
then
then
ease it
soft.
out.
Yeah.
But I really like what you were saying about realizing at that very moment that coming to the realization that
Realization.
you're stuck. That's
Yeah.
why you need to actually like move,
Yeah.
like, because
Yeah.
you're like, why am I not wanting to put more effort into my this? Maybe that's not the thing that you're excited about.
Exactly.
You know, maybe you need to find what you're really excited about
Yeah.
so you can
Yeah.
want to put that energy into it.
Into it,
that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So speaking of, like you said, because you mentioned something, hustle culture.
Yeah.
So you already know
We're all
I'm gonna ask you.
hustlers.
What kind of relationship do you have with rest and productivity? Do you feel guilty when you're not in a state of high performance? Like, Juliet, you give me that.
How'd you know? I'm completely like type A personality. Very like I'm like high functioning anxiety girl. Like, unfortunately, I wish it wasn't that way, but yeah, I mean, I like to rest. I would like to rest more. But like I am definitely like that. And it's like it's a thing, especially when you're a little bit of a perfectionist and you like things to be like a certain way and you want it cut like that. Like, you can definitely put yourself into overdrive.
Yeah.
But, that being said, I also really like to enjoy.
Yeah.
And enjoyment is also part of my ministry. So I find a way to balance that out. Like, I will work hard and I'll give it everything, but once it's time to enjoy, like, you guys, you find out, like, I'm not getting into the bullshit if I'm in the middle of like my enjoyment. So that's me. I find time to rest and like really relax and enjoy my life. Absolutely. So rest is very important.
You guys are the real ministers of enjoyment.
You know it. I mean, that's the only way you can keep balance.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that I love the quote, rest is also productivity, because you
Yeah.
need to do that. You need to actually take the time. Creative people need time to do nothing.
Yeah, I love that.
You
that-
just need,
Yeah.
you need
I love
dead
it.
You need to
time,
relax
just
and you need to let your
downtime.
brain sit down
Yeah.
and then start to develop ideas organically, as opposed to when you're just focused on the grind and your work starts to suffer.
Yeah.
I mean,
You need-
yeah. No,
I know,
continue what you're
continue,
saying.
I'm done.
No, I'm just saying that as Nigerians, I feel like
Yeah.
it's like in our blood to like hustle and like,
Yeah.
get it done and like be the
Push
best
through-
or
push through
everything.
everything.
Even if you're suffering, you're
Push
supposed
through
to
it
like
all.
work hard still,
Yeah.
It's like, but
Very
I,
much
I
so.
feel like, just like over the years, I've just learned how important rest actually is, Sometimes you just need to like relax and like it's better than pushing through when like you have no more steam left in
Yes.
you,
Plus,
Because
your
the
work
will
starts
not-
to
yeah,
suffer.
yeah,
too.
your work
Like,
is gonna
it's like
suffer,
there's a
period.
point of diminishing returns, like
Yeah.
that you hit when you like overdo it or you're like get to burnout stage. Like, I don't like to get burned out.
No.
So like you see me, I'll fall back before I hit that point.
Yeah.
I'll push hard, but like once I get to burnout stage, then you see me, I'm rolling back because I'm not trying to burn out
And like
for nothing.
exactly. And how you arrive at destination is important. You want to
Yes.
arrive
Rest.
moisturized.
Yeah.
Straggle.
You know what I'm saying? Or do you want to arrive edgeless? Like, you have to ask yourself,
With your edges.
How do
Very,
you
very
want-
important question.
How do you want to come into this
Right.
space?
I'm
know what I'm
stealing
saying?
that.
So I want to arrive very
moisturized.
fresh.
Like, yes.
Moisturized.
Yeah.
Not beaten and ashy.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
No, but on a real though, because you brought up like the hustle culture and like growing up Nigerian. So how does, in this case, hustle culture or like the Nigerian culture, how does it play in like how much pressure you put on yourself in terms of being highly
Are you
highly
serious?
performing?
I mean, you as a Nigerian, you can answer that question yourself.
Why you
I
asking that
mean,
question?
how has it been for you?
I am struggling,
Like,
guys. I am
hello,
struggling.
is that not part of our culture? Like, they tell you from jump, like the expectations are so high.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the pressure is getting
Worse and worse. But
It
honestly,
absolutely
like
is.
we're people who came from like different like we were biology majors.
Yeah,
we went to dental school.
Yeah.
Like, and we dropped out of dental school.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
To chase to what Nigerians will summarize as nonsense. So, I literally had to we've had to struggle through
Yeah.
feeling like we're doing nonsense.
Yeah.
Because we make fun of ourselves, to be self-deprecating about like where we were. But it was like we were stuck in where our parents wanted us to be. And like we really had to, make that push and embraced being broke for many moments in our
Yeah.
life. Still doing that sometimes.
Yeah.
And just to get, this dream off the ground.
Yeah.
Whatever, all the million of them that we have. So, it's like there's a lot of pressure, but like I think that even that pressure gives me the pressure to make sure that I must actually make it.
Yes. At the end of the day.
It's like you need
Yeah.
that, like, I'm gonna show
Yeah,
them.
yes.
Show them.
Oh my! They
Oh
say
my-
Show them count.
My show
pepper
them
list.
count.
My pepper list. Oh, for real.
That is, actually, you're right. You're very right. I don't know what else to add to that, but yes, absolutely. So on that note, though, how like affected are you by like other people's progress in terms of being stuck? Like, because as a Nigerian, of course, like you said, high performance, that's the thing. But like, how are you affected by the progress of other people in real life and on social media? Does that inspire a feeling of panic or a feeling of, stagnancy? Like,
I mean, I think for me, I tend to be more of a cheerer. Like I'm happy to see other people doing whatever it is that they're doing, whatever they're like, to see somebody that I know that has talked about stuff actually hitting those dreams and like hitting the goals. Like it makes me feel like, oh my God, they actually were able to do it. So then it inspires me to like not give up on my dreams or whatever it is that I want to do. So that's how I kind of like look at that. It's like more like inspirational, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that, again, like, I think growing up, or like, you kind of like, sometimes your parents can try to like compare you to like your cousins or like people around you, and then try to like, perhaps make you, they say like, oh, this person has done this and you're still here or something like that. That happens a lot in our culture.
Exactly.
And I think that you actually do have to learn how to not like, for me, I think I had to like understand that even though this person is like doing this, it's fine. It doesn't affect me. Their own like life is not my own life.
Exactly.
So like, it just inspires me. It doesn't just like make me feel like, oh, I'm worthless or anything like that. It just makes me see, okay, cool, this person is doing this. That's great. But the person also put in the work to get to where they are. So
exactly.
If I want to get anywhere, I just have to
do the same thing. And honestly, sometimes it's almost an indicator of what you're not doing and what you need to do more of. Because when you see someone, achieving their dreams or like reaching their goals, like, I always say to myself, well, have you done the thing that you're supposed to do? Because like, I mean, this person probably did X, Y, Z, and that's why they are exactly where they are today. Like until you do all that, you should not have the expectation that you should be in the same shoes or whatever it is as that person. Like, it really is just like, okay, this is inspiring.
Yeah, cool.
I agree.
wow. I do appreciate you guys, like, your honesty and your vulnerability on this, because as a high functioning Nigerian child, I am drawing serious inspiration from this. But yeah, I know that we have like a special.
So we do have a special guest. Her name is Danielle Canty.
Yes.
And she is amazing, and you will learn so much from her. So stay tuned. Today we have with us Danielle Canty, president of BossBabe and the host of the BossBabe podcast. And Danielle, I'm just going to turn it over to you to give us a proper introduction.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. I'm so excited. So yeah, I started BossBabe in 2018, which is actually really not that long ago. And I met my business partner only in 2017 at a Brendan Bouchard event. So at this point, I was actually a chiropractor. And so we founded BossBabe because I was lonely as an entrepreneur. and I met Natalie, and she was lonely as an entrepreneur. And we also felt like there wasn't really a place for ambitious women. So we decided, as a lot of boss babes do, is like, well, if there's not a place, I will build it. And that is how Boss Babe was born. And then it's become a place for ambitious women who want to be unapologetically ambitious. And we've created a community across the platforms over the years. We teach women how to build wealth. We have a podcast where we share like the behind the scenes of everything that's really going on. And, you know, we all need to remember social media as a highlight reel.
Yes.
And it's just when I think you have something that you believe in and you put your community first, there's just been this positive ripple effect and snowball and how we've grown over the last few years.
Amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So like, 'cause you started from a situation where you were a chiropractor, yes, and you felt lonely. So was that in a sense you feeling a little bit stuck in the career you had at the point?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. So just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory. So I went to chiropractic college, spent 4.5 years there, graduated, and then went into this profession, which I was so excited to do. And I'd always wanted to help people, and I loved being a chiropractor for a really, really long time. But in 2016, my dad had a really serious skiing accident and he fractured his pelvis. And, you know, he was helicoptered and there was so much stress around this. And I realized that whilst I had created a sense of financial freedom at that point for myself, like, you know, I had a house and was doing my thing, I realized I actually didn't have true freedom because I was chained to my location every single day. And I think everyone gets to define what their sense of freedom actually is. But for me, I really wanted independence and I wanted choice. And I was realizing that my life was governed by 15-minute appointments. And when I had to leave my dad in France and fly home because I had to be in work, because I wasn't financially free where I couldn't afford to work. I wasn't like that. I was just like, okay, I was working and I was living and that was fine. I just realized, I was like, oh my God, this feels painful. This feels like this life isn't actually what I'd set out to create. And so that started the kind of cogs turning around, how happy actually am I? Now, I'm pretty easy to please. I like to think that. I'm like a genuinely happy person, and I always find the positive in my solutions or my positive in my situations. And so I was like, you know what? I'm happy, but I think I'm like just, this isn't quite the life that I want. And I think in those situations, if we bring it back around to feeling stuck, I think you have two choices at that point. To me, if you look at the definition of being stuck, it's like you're in a situation that you can't get out of.
Exactly.
It's not you're in a situation that you don't love. That's very different. But it's in a situation that you can't get out of. And I would argue every single one of us can get out of any situation that we want. Yes, it might hurt. Yes, it might cost you money. Yes, it might take you time. But you all can get out of a situation. And until you take that power back and say, I have the power to change this, you're just a victim. And when you're a victim, you can't create change. When you're a victim, you can't own. And when you're a victim, you can't do. And so I'm always like, you're never stuck. I'm never stuck. But until you can say, I'm never stuck, you can't actually do anything about it. And so when I had this feeling of like, I don't like where I am, I don't like the life I've created. And it wasn't that my life was bad or anything like that. It just wasn't a life I loved anymore. And I was like, you know what? What did I do about this? Did I know what I was going to do about it in 2016? No, hell no. Did I know that I was going to go on and found BossBabe at that point? No. Was I shit scared? Yeah. Were people looking at me like, why are you moaning about this? In fact, I said to my boss at the time, who was, so basically I started owning some of the chiropractic clinics that I worked in, but we were owned by a group. And this guy, 37-year-old white guy, and I sat down with him one day and I was like, look, I'm really ambitious. Like I want to be doing more. I want to be creating. And I felt like I was starting to have like a ceiling. That was also leading to a lot of my happiness. I was feeling very capped in my growth. And I think it's really important that everyone understands what they're motivated by. And I knew that I was motivated by growth. Like Tony Robbins says, you're not growing, you're dying. And I really related to that. It's not for everybody, but I like to be moving forward. So if I'm moving, I'm happy. And so I was feeling really, really stuck at this point too, which is why everything started to collide in 2016. And I said to him, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm just like feeling like I want to do more. Like I want to go and create a life. I want to like do an online business, I think. He's like, Danielle, you don't know anything about online businesses. You're a chiropractor. I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't know anything about it yet.
Exactly.
Yet.
Wow.
He was like, well, you know, Danielle, I'm really worried about you. And I was like, oh, why? And he's like, you know, you're just really ambitious and I'm worried you're going to get hurt. It's like a big world out there. It's really hard and you're thinking that it's going to be simple to make these changes and it won't be. And I'm just really worried that you're going to live your life wanting the next thing, and being really unhappy. I sat with that for a moment and it really took me back because I wasn't really expecting this resistance. And I was kind of going to him in this like mentoring capacity about how proud I was about what I wanted to go and create. And so I was really taken aback by those words, but I let it sit with me. I was like, oh. And over the years, that's actually like turned very differently. And the next few months after that, I was kind of like, who do you think you are? Tell me. I think, would you have said this to a guy?
No.
Would you have said this to a man?
He would
I'm
never
very
have.
confused why you're saying this to me.
Exactly.
And so I just started like, okay, it's 2016. I don't have a clue, but I realized I wanted location with freedom. And so I knew that an online business was something that I wanted to go and create. And I share this next part of the story because I think it's really important. People just think one day I woke up and started BossBabe. They don't realize that there were years before that of like, I was like, should I do an Amazon business?
Right.
Maybe I can sell something on Amazon. I invested in a course on learning how to buy and sell products on Amazon. Then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm actually really good at business. I've like grown these chiropractic clinics. Maybe I'll teach business online. So I did a business certification program. Then I was like, oh, I could be an author. I can sell books online. Maybe I could do something like that. Maybe I'd do a high performance book, you know, combine my business with my health stuff and then put that together. And it's just like, I tried things, but the thing was, I wasn't giving up and I was just looking. I was like, the more doors I can get in front of me and the more doors I can open and go, oh, I like what's on the other side of this. Oh, no, shutting that one away. Like, that's not for me. But it's like, you don't know. And life is a journey. And I use this analogy a lot. If we take like, you know, America, let's say I'm in LA, I'm on the West Coast and I'm traveling east and I want to head to New York. I know what my North Star is. And I think everyone listening needs to find out what their North Star is. What are you creating? And once you put that pin in the map, I knew I was heading to, let's say, New York at this point. I knew that I wanted to build an online business. Did I know how to get from LA to New York driving? No, I had no freaking idea. All I knew was that I needed to keep heading east. And sometimes I might head north and sometimes I might head south and sometimes I would head like northeast, but damn, I was not going west again.
Right.
Yes.
And when I realized that the key thing was I needed to make sure I just kept putting one step in front of the other. And it was okay to take detours, but it was all progress. It made it really easy not to stop, made it really easy to stay motivated. And it made it really easy for me to retain my power and not feeling stuck because I was like, I'm doing something about it.
Right.
And so like every part of that journey, and this is one thing that's always really helped me, is sometimes people think, well, I started to make this change and nothing's really happened. But they don't actually realize how far out of LA they are. They might not be in New York yet.
Yeah.
And this is going to really test my geography. And I'm not great with states yet. But like, oh, I'm in Arizona.
Right.
Or actually, you know what? I think I'm in Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rest of them. But it's like, but then it becomes easy not to turn back to LA.
Yeah.
Because I'm already
You've
on my way
already
to
done
New
this.
York. And I think it's like, you know, unfortunately and fortunately, I went through a divorce. Like I was in a relationship. I was in my ex for 14 years.
Wow.
And I could have said, I'm stuck in this. And look, I'm not saying like we didn't try and figure out and how to work this out. But there's always options.
Yeah.
Like we had an option to make it work and invest and decide we were meant to stay together still. We had an option to do things differently. And we also had an option to separate in the end.
Yeah.
And I think that when you could I have looked back on that and been like, oh, I'm really regretful. I'm so sad I got married. I really regret leaving, or I really regret this and it. I really regret moving from the UK to the US with him because maybe that was part of the reason. I'm really regretting starting BossBabe because maybe that was part of it as well. No, I don't regret shit in my life because everything I go through makes me who I am today.
Exactly.
And that made me stronger.
Yes.
It made me like have different appreciations for other people in my life. It made me open up to better relationships in my life, like people who really support me. Like now I know what that feels like.
Exactly.
And I think it's like, just remember, you are not a victim in this world. Like you have power, and don't get me wrong, people go through really awful things.
Yeah.
And I am talking about a woman living in the UK and living in the US. So don't want to be taken out of context, but most people, they get choices in how they come outside of things. And I spoke to someone the other day, and it's like, you know, he was chatting to a guy who lost his leg, and he knew two people who'd lost their legs. And he was like working at a hospice. And he was like, Danielle, the thing is, these two people lost their legs in different situations, but one guy was full of like, you know what, this is teaching me. I'm so grateful for the life I have. How can I bring messages of what I've learned from losing my leg to the next chapter of my life? And the other person was like, life owes me something. I've lost my leg. I need this. I need that. People should be doing this for me. And I share this because we all have choices on making the best of the situations that we're in. And I think we owe it to ourselves and how we can look at things and go, okay, this was shit, but how can I make the best of this opportunity? What can I learn from it? What can I take forward with it? What has happened for me versus to me?
Yes.
Because everywhere I look, there's inspiring stories. People have been through so much. Like I'm inspired when I hear like what people have been through and come out the other side. Like, well, people are strong. You can be strong. You just have to find what motivates us to bring that strength out, have that story, share that learning, share that lesson, and help other people around us like do the same, and help other people who might listen to the story one day and be like, you know what, I see a little bit of myself in that person sharing that.
Because like in a situation where someone is like feeling stuck or feeling like afraid, because I think a lot of times like the thing that keeps people stuck is their fear of failure, right? And like almost like if you don't try, then you won't fail. Like how can like any tips or any kind of, you know, how can someone come out of that kind of, you know, negative thinking? And like
I think it's redefining failure. So I will come at it from two angles. So I will always say, you can't actually fail if you don't quit, because failing is like, oh, I tried something, it didn't work, I failed at it, and now I'm giving up on the thing. Versus I tried it, that way didn't work, so I'm going to try it again and try this way. Oh, that didn't work too, so I'm going to try again and do it a third. Oh, this way worked.
yeah.
Like when we launched our podcast, you think it like went viral straight away? No. Like, okay, we better like change this conversation. We better get better audio equipment. We better do this. But it's like all progress. There's not really any such thing. And so I think it's like we have to be so conscious about how we talk to ourselves. We have to be so conscious about that little person on our shoulder who's speaking to us. And I don't want anyone to listen to this podcast thinking, oh yeah, I'm like dandy and rosy all the time and I never have my own shit going on. I never have self-doubt. I never have like, oh my goodness, I'm scared right now. I do. And we absolutely do, but it depends how much we let that control us.
Exactly.
And so when I have the fear of failure, I'm like, okay, so what are we actually scared of? Because sometimes the fears and of the failures is actually like, oh, I'm scared I'm going to look bad in someone, in front of someone.
Right.
I'm
I
like
think that's
scared
very
that I might waste, you know, this $100 doing it. But if you've got $1,000 in the bank account, like, okay, you've got room.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just trying to put things in perspective. Because if you can put things in perspective and you can put things into versus like allowing things to snowball in our imaginations of what's possible in the negative way, why don't we try and let them snowball in what's possible in the positive way.
Yeah, that's
Exactly
right.
that.
Absolutely.
And okay, I think what sets a lot of people apart is resilience. And your ability to get back up when you fall down is what will help you succeed in the thing that you are trying to achieve. So it's like watching a child learn to walk. Child crawls, like it's a stage. They start rolling over. Then they start just tucking their knees under them. Then they actually start commando crawling. Then they start proper crawling, and then they start walking. Have you ever seen a child not fall over when they're learning to walk?
Right,
No,
that's
of course
true.
they don't. And as
That's
a
true.
parent, you don't say, "Oh,
You
you tried once,
That's enough.
sweetie.
Never stand ever again.
Now,
This
just
is it
now,
for the
you
rest of your
know."
life.
End it.
Yeah,
That's
no,
right.
come on,
It's
let's
true.
go again. You've
It's
got
true.
this. Let's go
Yeah.
again. And so surround yourself with people, because you can do it a lot of the time to yourself, but it's also like fuel. What are you putting in your car? What are you putting in your engine? What are you feeding your mind with? Surround yourself with people who are like, you know what? I can help you next time.
Yeah.
Let's do it together.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you fell down. Don't worry. You look great. Try again. You heard someone say shit about you? Ignore them. Like, I'll tell you how amazing you are. Like, surround yourself with people. And if you don't have those people, either start listening to podcasts and listening to the inspiring places, start following people who you think are like, oh my God, I like what they're talking about, and get new friends. It's not like people make this weird thing about making friends in like different, I'm like, move countries.
Right.
Yeah.
Very easy to meet. Everyone wants friends. Adults, everyone is telling me, oh, how do you make friends as an adult? Well, it's funny that every adult I talk to is talking about how do they make friends. So
Like,
guess
how are
what?
you guys not
We all want
right?
friends.
Everybody wants the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went
It's
to
so
LA and
true.
I was like, yeah, so I'm like new here. So if you want to get a coffee, I'm definitely looking for friends. I'm like putting myself out there.
Yeah.
I was like telling people what I wanted so they knew I was looking for friendship.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
It's just, so back to your question.
Yeah, no, I
Trying
think
anyway.
I think the trying part is where is like the most important thing in when it comes to thinking about failure. Because if you keep trying, then you're not failing because you're trying, you're putting the effort in. I think it's the stopping of the trying that is the real definition of failure. Like if you're just like, okay, I fell down and I'm not getting back up.
Completely. And a pivot is also different to a failure.
Exactly. Very true.
And also,
Absolutely.
okay, so for my example, did I fail at being a chiropractor because now I don't practice
No.
chiropractic? I didn't see it that way. Did I fail in my marriage because I ended up getting a divorce? I didn't see it that way. I had an amazing time for what it was. And then
perspective.
the
New
book
beginnings.
closed and I moved on.
Yeah.
Did I, fail at those when I was doing my other chiropractic stuff or that Amazon business or that? No, because it led me to where I am. And I'm really grateful for where I am. So
It's true. And every experience really is like a lesson in itself. You know?
Exactly.
So
Adds to
you
who
take
you are.
something from
Yeah.
it, Yeah, absolutely.
Your probability of success will vastly increase the more attempts you have at it.
That's amazing.
And I think a lot of the time, people tend to think of life like they only have like one life.
Yeah.
But you have chances to have like 3 lives. I'm on my
Yeah.
like 5th life right now.
Exactly.
You know, you can start over as many times as you want.
as you want.
And there's no timekeeper.
Right,
It's up
and
to
there's
you.
no age,
Yeah.
like, because people, that's the other really
Yeah.
frustrating thing.
People
I think
get
people
so-
really like get bogged down by age. Oh, by 30, I need to have done X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Oh, by 35, I need to be here. By 40, I need to
And
be
if you
here.
didn't do it,
More
you're
for
And if you didn't do it, then
Yeah.
and it's like very much for
yeah,
I've
for
women.
noticed
women,
that a
it's so
lot more in
crazy.
LA. It's more the women feel that. Men, they're like Peter Pan's here.
They
Like, they're like 40 running around still. I'm like, oh,
It's like, I'm like, why are we
the
so
culture
hard on
of-
ourselves?
It's it's patriarchy. It's the culture
is.
that tells women
It
that
is.
they expire by a
Yeah.
certain age.
They
And
tell you that you have an expiration.
there's a lot of self-inflicted misery. I say that all the time. Like what you believe about life
Yeah.
is what ends up restricting your freedom to live. You know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's I teach this quite often, which is your thoughts create your feelings, which create your actions.
Absolutely.
And it's like if you think a certain way, you will feel a certain way, and your action will be related to that. So if you
Exactly.
think you are stuck,
Self-fulfilling.
you will feel stuck, and therefore you will act as if
Yeah.
you will
You're
be
stuck.
stuck.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with being a victim, If you
Yes.
think you're a victim, your actions will lead you to be a victim,
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, you process life through those
Through
lenses,
very
and
different
that would be how you
lifestyle.
interact with the world.
World,
You
yeah.
know? So, do you think in any way in your lives, looking at other people, has that made you feel stuck in your own life?
a comparison culture.
It's absolutely comparison culture.
Yeah.
And I think for most people, everyone feels that a little bit, like especially like just looking at Instagram and like looking at, you know, maybe someone is doing a job or is working a job that is kind of the one that you want, and like,
But is it what you actually want, or is it what you think you want because of the person is getting like so much like
from it.
yeah, fame
I
or money
mean,
or
I get,
whatever?
you know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like social media has made everybody kind of want to like be like, not everyone wants to be an influencer, but you can see how that has like kind of infiltrated like everyone's mindset in that, like, you know, people who have, let's say, 9 to 5s now feel the need to like have so many different hustles as well.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
But is that really what you want, or is that just what you think you're supposed to do in this current
this new world,
generation? You know what I
exactly.
mean? And yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, because it does inspire the feeling of
Yeah.
feeling stuck, even though
Right.
your life
Even
is
though your
thriving.
life is
Yeah.
good, and
Yeah.
but then the question then is, are you happy with your life, or
Is that the time where you need to
start to like explore other things
other
as
things?
well?
I think if you get to the place where you feel like that, maybe that's some kind of indication that maybe you need to. But I mean, there's something that surrounds that feeling.
Yeah.
Depends on like, do you have something you're interested in, or is it just based on you being envious of what other people are doing?
Right. So
Yeah.
like let me ask you, because you've gone through this process, right? Because like for people who are coming from 9 to 5 culture, right? And like wanting to start something, you know, different than what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? When you were in that space, was it so much that you no longer wanted to be a chiropractor, and this was like really like a passionate thing that you were passionate about, or was it like you kind of saw other people doing this type of stuff, and then like it made you want to try something different,
Exactly.
you know?
It was stages, and at that when we started this, no one else was really doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there was a lot. The market was slightly different to it is now.
Right.
But I'll just rewind slightly, and I think this is where a lot of people could go wrong, is they don't actually get clear about what they want their life to look like.
Exactly.
And so they end up in reaction versus being proactive. If I spend a day on social media, sure, I'm going to be like, oh, I want a life like her. Oh my God, they've got that. I want that. I want that. Like, what? Because I'm seeing on a highlight reel on social media, I have no idea what their life is like.
Exactly.
And so I think that people need to ground in is be like, okay, sit with it. Don't just decide all of a sudden. Go sit, go journal about it. Ask yourself, what are you grateful for in your life right now? Every single day, ask, what are you grateful for? What did you enjoy doing? What did you learn? And where was an area and improvement for your life? Do that for a month, and you will soon start seeing the things that light you up and the things that don't.
Right.
Then go, okay, what is the life I want to create? I know my number one value is growth. My ex's number one value is actually health. And that's why we started, like we had different values. And so if you have to understand what lights you up, you have to understand what motivates you so that you can then be intentional about the life that you want to create. Like people are like, oh, vision boards are woo-woo. No, vision boards are not that, are your North Star. On my vision boards, I'm deciding, am I still going to New York?
Yeah.
Or actually, am I going to Boston now?
Right.
I know I'm going in a similar direction, but I need to get so specific so I can be intentional about my time. And you know what? When you're leaving a 9 to 5, there are so many things. This does not happen overnight. It might take you a whole year to decide. It took me 2 years to then find my path with BossBabe. 2 years. And I am not saying it is painful, but you know what? You've got to make moves on it. You've got to try start building your audience. You've got to try start talking about stuff. You've got to take the courses. You've got to go and listen to the books. You've got to read things. You've got to ask questions. You've got to do your vision board. And you've got to try, because if you don't try and figure it out, you'll never figure it out. And so if you're in a 9 to 5 and you're confused about where you want to go, it's about going within, like all the answers are within you. They are not on social media.
Exactly.
Social media is a tool to get where you want to go once you've decided where you want to go. But if you go to social media for all the answers, like you're going to find that really difficult, because you're going to be bombarded with ideas, bombarded with scenarios, and that's really overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be so careful
Yeah.
about the amount of content I consume these days because
Yes.
it's overstimulating.
Yeah.
me.
It's like, I need to
is.
start a
lose
TikTok. I need to
myself.
start a YouTube. I need
you
to.
feel like you have to do everything.
Yeah.
And it becomes like analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so you can't even do anything.
I would say like you start one thing. There's a guy called Greg McKeown. He wrote a book called Essentialism. And in the I'm going to try and do it with my hands, but in Essentialism there's a circle, right? And it's kind of like, let's say the circle's like the sun and all these rays coming out of it. Let's say they're like 2 inches long, but there's 12 rays. That's what happens when you disperse your energy in 12 various places. Versus if you put all that energy, that one beam, like versus a ray of light, you got a beam at that point. All right. So you've got like 24 inches versus 2 in lots of directions. So just think about that for a moment. Like if you want to start something, give it like, and when we go about social media, you don't need to be on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all these places all at once.
No.
First of all, you need to stick with one platform, find your voice, and choose the platform that you love doing, because that will, my platform of choice for everything is podcast. And you'll notice my reels and stuff, I'll create reels for my podcast. And I want to be doing that more and more so that I can use one piece of content in multiple directions.
Yeah.
But for now, just always focus on one thing, because focus is a lost skill these days. And if you can have focus, you will beat 9 times out of 10 people, because you are literally focused and they are not.
That is the word.
Yeah.
That is
I
the
always
word.
say focus on
is
your
the
focus.
lost skill.
Yeah.
Because we are so distracted.
Yeah.
Like my level of I'm so distracted, honestly, between work, my baby, Instagram, just life. Like it's so hard. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I'm so glad that you're here, because this conversation really, really just like, it's like underlining all the things that we need to like work on, and like, okay, this is really, this is the part that you really need to focus on.
And like, if you're going to do a thing, go like 110% of that thing. So if you're going to be like, okay, the podcast is like the one thing that we're really driving forward. How the you can make this the best podcast ever? Like 110%, like focus on being the best on the one thing. And then all the other things followed. We focused on the like how we could be the best Instagram account. And we looked at our insights. We tried new things. Some of them sucked, some of them worked. And we just kept going. Like, oh, reels. We've got to learn how to do reels now. Oh, God, I'm going to suck at these. Okay, we're going to get better. We're going to work out. We look at insights. I don't take it. If someone doesn't like a reel, I'm not taking it personally. And like, oh, my God, I hate it. No, I'm like, oh, shit, that didn't work. Okay, I'll try it again. Let's do another thing. There's stuff that and don't get me wrong, you have to do things that you don't like doing. But when you lean into something that you love doing, you will stay up late night and read about it. You will like cancel other plans because it's important for you to do it.
Absolutely.
So when you find something you're truly passionate about, and some people are like, I don't know how to find what I'm passionate about, do the journaling thing. Ask yourself, what are you grateful for? What do you enjoy today? Just start keeping a record of stuff. Like, ask yourself, when do we actually check in with how we're feeling? Like, how often at times a day do you sit with yourself and go, out of 10, how much do I love this activity?
Yeah.
And so this is what I do, right? Grab a piece of A4 paper, take it, put it into quarters. In the top left-hand corner, write, what do I love doing and I'm good at, right? The top right, and you're not filling this in yet, you're just creating this piece of paper. On the top right corner, ask yourself, what do I like doing and I'm good at? The bottom corner, left corner, what am I good at but I don't like doing? And the bottom right, what I may absolutely crap at and what do I like not like doing, right? Keep that piece of paper by your desk for the next 2 weeks. I promise you, you will start realizing the things that you actually really enjoy doing.
Watching TV.
Just kidding. Inspiration. You know what? If watching TV is actually important, I don't think you should feel guilty. I also don't feel like everyone, I watch TV, I go out, I go meet my friends, I have a good time. I actually think that's really important, because otherwise what am I doing it for? Like, why am I here? Life is for living in the moment. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have this fun. And I am going to watch Handmaid's Tale, even though it's messing with my mind. I am going to do these things. So I'm definitely not a person who's like, oh my God, to be successful, you have to get up at 5 a.m. and like never watch television again. Like, I don't believe that. But what I am saying is like, you do have to be like conscious about who you are and understand what motivates you and excites you. And I think a lot of people don't give themselves the opportunity and the grace to do that.
Absolutely.
And I get that it is hard in a 9 to 5 and someone's dictating your work, right? But you can still know what you enjoy doing about that job and what you don't. And then let's say you're in a job, because, you know, this can also apply in creating your career. If you're in a job and you're like, you know what, I'm not actually really loving these aspects about my job, and this is what I actually really enjoy this, like, marketing side of it or the creative side of it. Okay, go and have that conversation. Start talking about that. Like, oh, don't say, oh, I don't like doing this stuff. Like, you know what? I loved that. Or like say, hey, is there any support that you need in this area? Like, when my employees say this to me, I'm like, yeah, I mean, tell me what is going to make you happy coming to work? Because when people are happy in work, they are way more productive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I get some of you have got like shitty managers, but guess what? You're not stuck. There's always ways around it. So like, make the decision, like, I am going to figure out how I do more in my day of things that light me up, and start being strategic, start talking about it and making decisions. And if you need to apply for a new job, apply for a new job. If you need to talk to your boss about, you know what, I'm actually really open for doing a sidestep into this other area, and I do have the skill sets. When I first started as a chiropractor, I started getting into marketing. I would market for free for my company. Just so I could get the skill set.
Yeah.
I wasn't asking to be paid. I just did it anyway.
That's an
And then
amazing
that,
skill to
yeah,
have.
that served me in the longer run.
skill.
I was like, well, I'll just do it. If you're not gonna, if you got, he's got no budget. I was like, okay, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I knew I knew I was playing my own game.
Yeah.
I'm not playing his game.
Right.
His game, it was like telling me I couldn't go anywhere. I knew where I was going. I knew that I had a mission.
Restricted.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm gonna. If you're not gonna pay me, fine. Money's not everything. Enjoyment is, and I'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about like vision boards? Because I think for me, I'm a very like cerebral person. Like, a lot of my thoughts, I'm so like internal. I have a lot of conversations with myself inside my head. So a lot of things end up staying in here. And I'm trying to get into the practice of like letting my thoughts out, writing, doing vision boards, because I feel like sometimes that's where I get a little bit stuck, and it doesn't allow me to focus on what I'm trying to do if it just stays up in here.
Yeah. I 100% believe you can't solve problems in your head.
Yeah.
If you want to make changes in your life, whether it be a big change in creation or understanding your feelings, or whether understanding a problem in work, you can't solve problems in your head because you can't put them in a linear. Our brains do not work linearly. I can't say that. They don't work in a linear pattern. They work like, you know, jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to create and solve a problem, it's like important for you to start downloading that onto paper. And for some people that's visual, for some people that's, you know, like spreadsheets, and for some people that's just journaling and writing. And so I'm really big into this because I have tried. I know when I feel the most lost and I feel the most stressed, it's because I've not got where I'm going on paper, and I'm not looking at it every day, because we forget things. We forget where we're going sometimes, you know? Like, wait, did I say I went to New York or Boston? I can't remember now. Or I've gone round in circles on it so many times. Like, where am I going? So I think the power of doing a vision board is not only allowing yourself to get clear on where you're going, and it could be a vision paragraph. That's how I started. It was like writing areas of my life that I wanted to create. And so I'll give 2 tips that I do it. If you're writing, I always do preemptive. So I don't write, oh my goodness, I'm so happy that one day I will have that dream house. I write, I am so grateful that I have my dream house. I wake up every single morning and I can hear the water running and the waterfall and the pool outside. Like, it has a view looking over LA. Like, I can see the ocean in the distance. It smells like the one hotel, because that hotel always smells freaking amazing. Like, I know so specifically what I want to create. And for me, like, getting in those weeds is helpful, right? But if I also don't remind myself of that every day, and I don't either look at my vision board every day, or I don't read about what I'm creating every day, I'm not intentional about my day. I then allow other people's priorities to dictate to me and what I'm going to create. Because guess what? Your text message system, your emails, your social media, it's all other people's priorities. When anyone is hitting my phone, it's their priority, not mine, right? So I have to be so conscious around okay, does this fit in with my vision or my mission and what's on my heart, right? So that's always the lens that I'll run stuff through. I get asked, I'm fortunate enough where I get asked now opportunities like, hey, do you want to be an advisor for this company? Okay, it's not on my vision, but is it part of my mission? Are they supporting women? Are they supporting women make money and wealth? And they stand for things that I stand for? No, they don't. Okay, so no. It becomes really clear then. Versus, oh my goodness, I could turn down this opportunity. What if another opportunity doesn't come up like that? But, well, it doesn't align with my life. And I know I won't be able to serve them in the long run. It'll make me miserable in the long run.
Exactly.
And you won't be your best self as well if you're not.
So write it down or create the board. But either way, look at it every single day. I know people that have them on their phones. I know people that have them like stuck up. And don't be embarrassed about it. I'm like, it can be a little bit uncomfortable when you're like sharing like your vision with people. It kind of feels a little bit vulnerable. You're like, oh my God, like I'm actually telling them like my deepest dreams right now. And then question like, okay, are these like true friends if I can't actually be really open, honest with them? And maybe I do need some other friends. Or if you're not in a place where you are, I want to share it, just do it yourself. Just, you can have that in your bedside table and open it up every day. You don't have to tell other people, although I would encourage you to, because you have nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh my God, this was such a great show.
Yeah.
Danielle, thank you
so
so much.
Yeah,
You
thanks
shared
for
like
having
so many gems.
Like I'm
So
just
many.
like
I'm like
taking
going to
back
go
moments.
and
I have to go.
I'm so glad this is a
watch
podcast because you can just go back and watch
and
it.
watch it. So many,
Yes.
like the vision board idea
I'm
to
gonna
actually
go home and
see
do that.
see your
Yeah.
what you want like
Yeah.
in front of you like that. I'm gonna buy one of the. We already
Can I
have
just
one.
say one thing about the vision board
please.
too? This
Yes.
is my tip. I don't just do no ordinary vision board.
That tummy is like a wall.
I have photoshopped my face onto the
girl,
front
you
of
better.
Entrepreneur magazine.
Yes.
I do shit like that. I'm not playing around.
to do that. Thank you so much for telling me.
Is it a digital vision board or is it like actual like physical?
I like then print it out.
I like to
it
go buy
physical,
myself
and
a
I
printer.
I glue it on. Like,
Yes.
I mean, you guys are American. Like, we used to watch the show Art Attack. I didn't know if it was here. Like, then I would literally like glue it on, and it's like, patchwork.
That's what we're
It
gonna
looks like
do.
a 5-year-old did it.
Yeah.
but-
We should do it like we should do it together and just
Yeah,
why
We'll all
not?
do it together because I think we're all trying to hit in the thing.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh my God.
Well, thank you so much.
so much.
This has been amazing.
Please, BossBabes Inc. on Instagram is an amazing platform.
Yes.
Make sure you
And
check
listen
her
to the
out.
podcast
Follow,
too.
Listen to the podcast. Danielle is
Incredible.
We're gonna
as
put
you can
his
see,
name on it.
a wealth of
incredible
information,
advice.
a wealth of knowledge.
Yes, and please subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram at The Girls Like Me and at The Vain and Shameless Pod. Tune in next week, Thursday. We'll be back. See you, girls.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.